I'm back.
Welcome in once again. Your great and satirical life in a fantasy football world has returned stronger than ever. And it's
satirical.
Oh, yes. Neither of us know what that one means. Let's do this thing. It's episode 23. We're going to have a great time telling everybody our NFL predictions in real life NFL. Who we think are going to be the winners of the divisions, going into the playoffs, going to the championships, and we're going to make our call on who we think is going to win that coveted Super Bowl once again. This is going to get interesting. I'm very curious as to what you have to say in this. So without further ado, I am Caleb Cartwright and my ever beautiful friend, Mr. Westbore.
Thank you, Caleb. That was a much more complimentary introduction.
I regret it already.
Satirical's a pretty interesting definition here I'm reading. It's sarcastic, it's critical, it's mocking another's weakness. So you definitely nailed it, buddy.
Yes. We're so good.
Satirical. Okay. You said it right.
Oh, we're going to get into some great news before we get into the NFL predictions. I still can't get out of my head, before the podcast started, we were doing some very lewd renditions of Mickey Mouse talking. Some stuff we can't discuss on this podcast, but if you're listening, if you can do Mickey Mouse voice, just see what it's like to get a little naughty with his voice.
Caleb nailed it. I will never look at Mickey Mouse the same. Very unsettling, childhood possibly ruined, but I'm sure Caleb is fully happy with himself. We should have a pre-show show, because it gets pretty naughty in the pre-show.
It'll be like a separate explicit version of the podcast you can listen to.
Life in a fantasy football world after dark.
There you go. Hey, what was your favorite cartoon as a child? Like, were you a big Disney, Mickey Mouse, all that fan?
Mickey Mouse always freaked me out, man, because I never thought he talked, and then when I found out how he sounds, it was even worse.
Especially when you watch the old Mickey Mouse cartoons, like they're always racist or, something's crazy about them.
I think one of the highlights of my childhood was when I went to Disney World, and the Ninja Turtles were there signing autographs. And I freaked out, man. Freaking Donnie, Raph, Leo, Mikey, all four of them. Dream come true.
You got autographs? What did they sign? Did you have like paper? Did they sign a shirt?
No, back then you had little booklets. It was just like a overpriced tablet, basically, with Disney on the front. And then you just go around to characters, and then their fat, cushioned hands. I don't even know how they signed anything. They just scribble a bunch of circles and stuff. But it was like the coolest thing ever.
Would it have ruined the moment as a child if later that day you saw them take their costume heads off and you saw the people that were inside of them and it was like some gross fat dude or something?
Oh, not the way these dudes were moving. It was definitely not a fat, gross dude. If I would have seen that, I'd have been upset.
Or would you have been more impressed if it was a gross fat dude?
Like, need the suit cut off of him. I'd have been very impressed, man. But
like doing flips.
My imagination kind of got away with me a lot when I was younger when it came to characters. I never really accepted the reality that they weren't real. I remember when Mom was checking out of the grocery store, I questioned this guy for about 10 minutes because he looked like one of the Power Rangers, and I swore it was him, man. I swore it was him. And there's a magazine right next to him with the Power Rangers on. I'm like, you're the Blue Ranger, man. Just tell me. And, like, I left there convinced. Like, I understand why he couldn't tell me. Like, you can't just keep telling people your identity. And Mom ruined it for me. She's like, Billy, the Blue Ranger, is not in Mount Holly Springs, Pennsylvania.
Mom!
I was like, that's exactly where he'd be.
Ruin her!
Anyway. So let's try and turn this around on a football note, Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, I wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
A little personal, possibly sexual.
That's
What is your fondest fantasy football moment of your fantasy life?
So this is tough for me because I have a horrible, horrible memory. So it's going to be a recent memory. And
The draft you had yesterday?
the best ball draft we did yesterday is the best memory I have. No, honestly, the memory that's probably going to stick in my head most of all, because I got away with it, is getting Ezekiel Elliott last year for basically nothing. Right after
you admitted it.
Right after I had just gotten Saquon Barkley, not for nothing, but I ended up having both Saquon and Ezekiel Elliott on my team as my backs, and yeah, that whole debacle, it just pleased me how much it pissed everybody off. So
it threw the league into a tailspin.
It wasn't great. And could I do it again? Absolutely. I plan to do it this year as many times as possible. I'm that guy you don't really want to trade with. Every now and then I'll have a decent trade, but most of the time I just want what I want.
Most of the time, if you do a trade with Caleb and it goes through, just know he had his way with you in every which way, because it's rarely fair.
Oh, every which way in.
He's one of the commissioners that are very reckless with his powers, because if you don't accept it, he'll push it through anyway.
All right. Now, for the next few seconds, we're going to shut up and let this new news intro play. Go!
Let's get into the news.
Oh, what a mess.
Being red.
By Caleb and Wes. Fighting the good fight.
We thought of a might. Let's see what
The news has in store for us tonight.
Oh, in reality, we didn't actually hear it play, but we're going to put it in there and after. So now I have to act like, oh, what a great intro, everyone. That was super good.
Took me months.
Oh, I'm sure. I know it's going to be great. I don't even have to hear it while we're actually here.
I'm glad you didn't hear it.
Josh Gordon, by the way, as you put in the notes, he was reinstated for the 97th time. I mean, that makes him about 112 years old.
That's possible.
Pretty exciting because I feel like he's moved up to the top of the Patriots wide receiver depth chart, like right under Julian Edelman, that fast. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm just so PO'd at myself for not thinking to get him in one of my leagues, in any of my leagues, until the news broke, because like he's probably coming back. They're giving him a lot of chances. This changes a lot with the Patriots receiving core. They went from a pretty sad receiving core to Josh Gordon, Edelman, Demaryius Thomas getting healthy now. Like it's not going to be the best, but it's going to be formidable. So, yeah, it's kind of a big deal when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah, he was
not for my teams though. Damn it.
He was very, very good in games that Gronk didn't play last year. So Gronk's not on the team. They need that big end zone threat. And Josh Gordon's a good player. If he can stay on the field and play all 16, watch out for him being a sneaky comeback player of the year right there.
Sneaky.
Can they give the comeback player of the year title to somebody who was suspended? Probably not, right?
I think that'd be kind of cruel.
Yeah, maybe.
Like rewarding bad behavior.
Hey, I'm bad. I'm bad. You know it? That's a song. Andrew Luck, it's been a little bit shaky with his injury. The Colts haven't really been totally upfront or even really know what they're talking about when it comes to his injury. It seems to be some concern that he will be healthy for week 1. But the good news is before their preseason game and warm-ups, it seemed like he was moving around okay. He didn't play, obviously. We don't expect to see him in the preseason, but definitely something to watch. I've seen him drop super far down on boards lately because obviously he missed a good chunk of a season and a half with shoulder injury before. So, I don't know that I will take any chances on Andrew Luck, especially when the quarterback class right now is so deep. There's so many different options.
But could this possibly be a time to get great value for Andrew Luck, seeing how hyped you and I were and the whole fantasy community as the number one quarterback possibly, maybe 2, lowest as 3.
Yeah.
Now maybe quarterback 5, 6. Are you going to fall backwards into a pile of jewels, Caleb?
That's true. I mean, if you can get let's just have a competent secondary choice for the first few weeks. You could even go for Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he looked good the other night. He's been competent himself. And then have Andrew Luck ready to go whenever it matters and carry you into the championship, right?
Yeah, like it sounds like he probably will play week 1. So, I mean, it's not even that big of a deal. But if he got the nuts for it, draft him, because he was even getting taken a little too high for my taste. But where he's at right now, oh, you know who likes it. Daddy.
Yeah, he's fallen back, I mean, behind Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, like a lot of those guys. So, good place to be. Darius Geis, good for this guy. Finally getting back healthy enough. Expected to play in Thursday night's preseason week 3. Very excited to see if this guy has some juice, Geis.
Oh, no, Caleb,
okay.
no.
Listen, not all jokes can land,
Bad.
but I still have to try them.
I guess you're right. See, that's how you nail a mother-loving pun, Caleb.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
You're right. I get it. Anyway, we're talking about Darius Geis, running back for the Washington Redskins. Obviously missed all of last season with a terrible injury. Has been a long road getting back. A lot of up and down, re-injuring, hamstring issues, a lot of different things. So looks like he's expected to play. We get to see him in action on the field. Adrian Peterson, I still expect him to start the season in that number 1 running back spot for the Redskins. Redskins are not a great offense, but it's Geis's team to take over at some point. So unfortunately, I have no shares of him, but if he plays great, I'm just happy to see a good player on the field.
I agree. I've had a weird relationship with this guy. Was real hot on him early on, then sort of faded away after his rehab was going a little slower. Now I'm back on the Geis train. Just real anxious to see what this guy's all about. We got such a small sample size from him. He was such a talented back at LSU. I think everyone's just anxious to see what the Redskins have, including the Redskins. I mean, I know he's been doing great in practice, making some plays, but I mean, that's practice.
Yeah.
I just anxious to see what he can do, because we've seen nothing from the guy. He's got the talent. Just see how he comes back from this injury.
Yep, I totally agree. It'll be interesting to see what goes on. There's still quarterback battle going on there. Don't know who it's going to be, but they really need their running team. Poor Washington. DK Metcalf, anybody that was high on him, you know how we feel about rookie wide receivers, drafting them high, but DK Metcalf is getting some knee surgery. They're actually giving him a timetable to be ready for the regular season. But again, this is a rookie wide receiver that's going to miss a lot of team workouts and practices getting ready for the season. So just take a seat back, take a seat back in the back of your seat. And don't get too excited about DK Metcalf with this going on. I would suggest not drafting him unless you're in Dynasty, and wait to see how the season plays out if you get time.
I was just going to piggyback off everything you just said.
Cool.
Yeah. In redrafts, no thanks. In Dynasty, you have time to wait, so whatever.
Why don't you tell us what's going on in Dallas to finish off the news?
Ooh, the duel of egos. Tony Pollard, I believe how you say his last name.
It's Pollard.
Okay, I believe that's how you say his name, Pollard. Has been tearing it up in preseason, and by tearing it up, I mean he's been pretty adequate. So Jerry Jones went on record to say, Zeke who? What kind of idiot says that stuff?
That's such a dangerous thing to say.
That is such a stupid thing to say. What did you accomplish? What do you think Ezekiel Elliott was going to say? Like, oh, dang, you think he forgot about me? I better come back. Like, God, you're dealing with guys with egos almost as big as you, Jerry. So what are you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
He's an idiot. And now Ezekiel Elliott's ticked off. I mean, you know what fixes all wounds, though, Caleb? Being the top-paid running back in the NFL. So
Right.
Jerry Jones can say what he wants. Ezekiel Elliott can be irritated. But if Jerry Jones would offer Ezekiel Elliott what he wants, I'm sure Ezekiel Elliott will have a short-term memory when it comes to that.
Yeah, I did see the report that he was on a plane back to the area, so who knows? Maybe they're trying to work it out. A couple other minor notes before we move on. Emmanuel Sanders, even though he tore his Achilles last December, looks like he's ready to start in the next preseason game and give it a go.
He's playing as we speak, Caleb.
As we speak. Oh, yeah.
We are speaking mid-game.
Going on right now.
He has one carry for 19 yards and one catch for 5 yards. I'm sure he's calling it a night after that, but nice to see him out there.
Yeah, good for a 32-year-old receiver, man.
He's an old man.
Antonio Brown, back at practice, going there, going good. Deontay Foreman was placed on the IR, oddly enough. So that poor guy can't seem to be healthy, and maybe that's why, and part of the reason why Houston was tired of it, and his career is not going anywhere.
Because they said his work ethic and all that stuff, maybe he just wouldn't get in shape, and when you're not in good shape playing a physical game, you get injured more. So maybe I'm connecting all the freaking dots here.
That's true. All right. Let's get into our NFL predictions now. Emphasis on the dictions.
Haha. Emphasis on my crotch.
We're going to do this in 2 weeks, and we're going to start this week by going into our predictions for the winners of the divisions, winners of the championship game, winners of the Super Bowl. We don't have to give sound reasoning, but we're going to do it. And then next week, we're going to get into who we think is going to be Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, so on and so forth, blah, 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 yada-da, shut up. So we're going to start at the top of the divisions. We're going to start at the AFC East. Because my Dolphins are in it, I'll take the AFC East. I'll let you take the next one. Let's just get into it right here. It's the Patriots division. It unfortunately seems like it always will be, even though Tom Brady is soon to become one of the oldest quarterbacks, or the oldest quarterback to play the game, especially at a competent level. Last year they were 11-5, Dolphins 7-9, Bills 6-10, Jets 4-12. Everybody but the Dolphins seems to have very improved. Dolphins improved in a few places, but not enough to get any better. Certainly, they'll be hopeful to be 7-9 again. It'll be a tough time to take the Patriots down. So certainly, the Patriots are my pick to win that division again.
Yeah, I'll keep this short and sweet, Caleb. I was just looking over some of the betting lines and stuff for the divisions. This is the most extreme of any division in the NFL. If you put $100 down, okay, for the Dolphins to win the division, you would win $5,000.
Not bad.
Okay. You would have to put $550 down on the Patriots just to win $100. That is the biggest discrepancy of any. The Patriots, I think the closest one other than the Patriots are the Rams. If you put $185 on the Rams, you win $100. Patriots are $550.
I'm surprised they're even taking those bets, honestly.
And listen, I don't think many people want to put $100 down or $550 down and risk that for just $100.
True.
And behind the Dolphins, the Cardinals. If you bet on the Cardinals to win their division, it's $2,500. Just to let you know, that's doubling. The Dolphins are doubling. So the Dolphins are $5,000. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, we're not talking gambling or anything. I'm just saying, this is one of the most lopsided divisions there is out there. It's ridiculous.
I thought you were going to wanted to say your team sucks.
I just want to say your team sucks so bad that they're willing to pay your rent for months and months and months if your stinking Dolphins could win 9 games. I'm just kidding. No, but obviously Patriots, it's been their division. It's always been their division other than maybe a year or two over the last decade. But
yeah.
I mean Patriots.
Just the net points, right? Patriots had 111 net points. No one else in the division had less than 100 negative net points. It was that lopsided altogether. So, all right, why don't you talk about the NFC East?
NFC East. I had some interesting thoughts on this. I feel like it's the Eagles' division to lose, but if Ezekiel Elliott can play week 1 and play a full season, I think the Cowboys take that division, man. Their defense, it was great last year. I think it's going to be even better this year. Those younger players get another year under their belt. Dak getting paid if that happens. Zeke getting paid. I think they're going to be a formidable team, and I think that's their division. Now, if Zeke sits out and doesn't play till week 8 or something, it's the Eagles. But if everyone's full bore on week 1, it's Cowboys all the way.
I have a very similar thought process, but for the Eagles in this case. I fully expect the Redskins. I don't know. I think the Giants could maybe win more than the Redskins this year. But the Eagles, I think if Wentz is healthy all year, they brought in they drafted what looks to be a great running back in Miles Sanders. They brought in Jordan Howard, so they actually might have a fairly good rush offense this season as well to take some pressure off the passing game. They have what looks to be a great wide receiver core as well. They're bringing in Deshaun Jackson for a nice deep threat. So I'm going to pick the Eagles to win the division.
Ooh, God, where's a pen?
Oh.
I got to write something down.
Just put it in the show docs right after the thing.
Okay, right after the thing we're doing now.
I'll do one, you do the other.
Oh, you're doing it. Okay. Wait, which one are you doing?
Next, well, tell you what, I'll put it in. You tell us about the AFC North.
Poor choice of words, but okay.
Oh.
AFC North, you say?
It's a family show.
Quiet, you.
AFC
Just
North.
Put it in.
Your main
AFC
man.
North. Okay. So obviously my first answer is going to be the Steelers here, but I thought about it, trying to keep my heart out of it. It's going to sting to say this, but I really feel like the Ravens could take this. They have a really good defense, per usual, and they're going against the grain with the NFL right now. They're going to be a heavy running offense with a smash-mouth defense, and I feel like if they can shut offenses down and do the old school thing of draining the clock and running the ball all the time and just letting Lamar Jackson, if he can possibly manage the game, I feel like I think the Browns are overhyped. I think the Steelers and the Ravens, it's still their division to go at it, and I feel like the Ravens, possibly with their new style of play, could take the freaking division, and it stings to say that.
Unfortunately, because the Ravens won it last year, it seems like they have improved on a lot of facets. I actually don't think that losing Antonio Brown is going to be that bad for the Steelers. I actually pronounced it a couple of weeks ago, and I'll say it again here. I think the Steelers are going to hold on to the division this year.
Yay!
I don't think Lamar Jackson is good enough to win it, unfortunately. Although they have improved in a lot of places, I think the Steelers... Listen, that defense, I think Devin Bush totally changes that defense. He's like a phenomenal player, like all over the field. He's that player they were kind of missing again when they lost like Shazier, that was like an all-around, just all over the place guy. So I think their defense will actually be improved. I'm not buying the Browns winning the division. I'm buying the Browns are going to win some games, but I don't know that they're ready to take that next step. And, of course, we know where the Bengals are at. So I'm pulling for the Steelers this year.
Are you buying Devin Bush's haircut is the real question.
Oh, you haven't seen my new haircut. That's what I based it on.
Well, then I respect you for that.
It's
a bold look.
I always think you're going to say something else. Well, we're not friends anymore. So
we'll always be friends, just not real good friends that keep in contact.
Like anymore.
Yeah.
NFC North, another one of those really fun divisions to watch. Chicago Bears took it last year with 12-4. Can they do it again with that dominant defense? The Vikings are 8-7. Packers fell to 6-9-1 last year. Detroit Lions 6-10. I think every single team in this division can actually be better than they were last year. And I don't see the win totals going up for the Bears, but I think with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, with a clarified running team, new coach, same with the Minnesota Vikings, focusing on the rushing game, Dalvin Cook back healthy, Detroit Lions. I truly think this whole division could be better than it was. I almost think that every team in this division will be 500 or better. But who am I going to pick? I'm going to take the Vikings to win it this time. I like the running game. I think the passing game, they have a couple of the best receivers in the league and more. They do have a decent enough defense compared to the other teams in the division. It'll be tough to get past the Bears, but I just don't trust the Bears offense quite as much. So I'm picking the Vikings.
Very good. This is a very good division. I feel like I don't agree with you that all four teams can vie for number one or over 500. I feel like the Lions will still suck. Bears, Vikings, Packers.
All right.
It's going to be a great race. Okay, man?
Okay.
But I feel like when it comes down to it, the quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Mitch Trubisky, Aaron Rodgers. This is the Packers division. They got a new coach in there. Aaron Rodgers is coming in with a new attitude. He's not being a little baby anymore. They got a defined running back at Aaron Jones. And the Bears quarterback, Trubisky, I like him for fantasy as a plug-in. He's not a great real football quarterback. Not yet, at least.
You're not good at actual football.
You get me fantasy points, so I like you. But if I was a Bears fan, I would hate you. And I don't see Dalvin Cook playing 16 games, which is a huge deal for the Vikings. So I feel like it's the Packers division.
Oh, all right. Picking the Packers, you're going to make some people happy there. All right. Let's go on to the AFC West. AFC West, another very interesting, division. You have the Chiefs and the Chargers both finished at 12-4 last year. The Broncos 6-10, and the Raiders fell way down to 4-12 under Gruden's first year as head coach.
You been watching Hard Knocks at all?
I haven't, no, because I really want to. I should see if I can get it anywhere.
I think I can hook you up with some information after the podcast.
Well, you can
I'm
tell
watching
me
it.
about it.
I will just, I'll say it over the air. Everyone can know the login and password.
Okay.
No, I've always loved Hard Knocks, man. The only thing I hate about it is it gets me excited about people like in fantasy that I shouldn't be. Like the one year I watched it when there was the Buccaneers, and I went all in on like Doug Martin and Jameis Winston, and it was the year Mike Evans had a down year. I was just like, did you watch the show? They're gonna be awesome this year.
That's why you like Tyrell Williams now.
Quiet you.
I see what's going on. Yeah, so I am much higher on the Oakland Raiders. Not so high to think that they're going to take the division, though. The Broncos, unfortunately, a lot of crazy pieces there. I think the defense is starting to fall a little bit. The offense, who knows how it's going to be with Flacco. So it's really hard to go for them. The Chargers, I got to say, without Melvin Gordon, I can't like that team. I mean, Eckler is a fine back. Justin Jackson is okay.
A fine back.
But they're not Melvin Gordon. I think missing that piece. Keenan Allen is nursing some injuries now. So it's the Chiefs division. I can't go against the Chiefs here.
I think it's another contingent pick. If Melvin Gordon's back, I feel like the Chargers could take this division. I really do. Without Melvin Gordon, now Melvin Gordon will be back by week 8. I feel like the Chargers could still take it. Last year, Mahomes' breakout year, which whenever they break out like that, they always, not saying he's going to suck, but I'm saying he's going to take a step back when people get a lot of film on you. They both ended last year at 12-4, and the Chiefs seemed like unbeatable at that point. It came down to one of the final games, I thought. The Chargers can take this division. Eckler and Jackson can hold down the fort while Gordon comes back. When he comes back, it's their division.
That's your
I
pick?
like the Chiefs, but I think I'm going to go with the Chargers.
All right. Hey,
San Diego Superchargers.
I like this. We only agreed on one division so far. We got this.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you like in the NFC West?
NFC West. I'd like to come up with a tricky pick here, but I can't. It's the Rams. They got the Seahawks maybe, but Niners won't even get close. The Cardinals won't even get close. And the Seahawks, I feel like the Rams are too. They're an offensive juggernaut, and their defense is good enough to keep offenses at bay that the Rams will have another easy stroll to get that division.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have anything cool to say here. I do think that the Seahawks they're going to fight them pretty hard for it. But crazily enough, in years past, the Seahawks have won that division with not that many wins. They've done it just through a poor division. And I think now that the Rams are so dominant, it's going to be really hard to overcome them. So, yeah, Rams on Rams on Rams on Rams.
Ram it!
Oh, that's what. No, AFC South. Texans, Colts, Titans, Jaguars. A lot of interesting teams. Texans won it last year at 11-5 on the back of Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. The Colts, Andrew Luck came back storming and really pulled that team together. Marlon Mack added to that rushing offense. Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines to make a great attack. And the Colts had a really good defense, surprisingly. Tennessee Titans, they were 9-7. Their defense was not as good as everybody hoped for, especially with Mike Vrabel there. And the Jaguars, the biggest disappointment, obviously, 5-11 going last year, just completely fell apart. Jaguars have a new quarterback, so unforeseen where they're going to fall. I'm going to take the Colts, though, because I do believe that the Colts are going to be a strong team this year. I do believe Andrew Luck will be back soon, if not for week 1. And, I'm going to take the Colts to take it over the Texans, although the Texans look scary.
Texans and Colts, they're the ones that are going to be fighting it out at the end of the year. And when the dust settles, Deshaun Watson and the Texans will be the last ones standing.
Oh.
I like that offense. Bringing in Duke Johnson, I think, is a bigger deal than some people make it. The defense, I just think and the question mark behind Andrew Luck. I mean, if Andrew Luck doesn't play, Colts are going to be in the top 5 next year in the draft. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying with question marks around him, Texans are solid and they will win this division. Book it.
Oh, it's booked. My ticket
Consider it booked.
has been punched. All right. What's the last division? NFC South. Who you got?
NFC South. Pretty good division. This division is loaded. Panthers. You got the Buccaneers. You got the Saints. And you have the 2019 division winner, Atlanta Falcons. I feel like the Saints are going to take a step back. I think Drew Brees has been taking steps back. Cam Newton and his health. And they have a young offensive weapon. A bunch of offensive weapons that are young. And the Buccaneers, a lot of question marks around there with their quarterback, the young players. The Falcons, they're a little more seasoned. They know how to win and lose Super Bowls in the most embarrassing way, but they do know how to win that division, and they will win it this year.
All right. This is one of those ones like you were saying. Like I think if Cam Newton is really healthy this year, can really actually play through the whole year, throwing the ball hard, I think it's going to be a really good offense. I think it's an underrated offense, not just because of Christian McCaffrey, but I think that there's some good players there. Though it's not going to be enough. I'm gonna pick the Saints again this year. I think they're going to play hard and they're going to play all the right ways to try and
they're going to make all the touchdowns,
make those right decisions to try and really win it for Drew Brees. And I honestly think if it wasn't for the one bad call last year, I think the Saints probably would have beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl last year.
I also want to say, I think I chose the Falcons because I'm so tired of how whiny the Saints were
Yeah.
last year. I'm just so tired. I'm not sympathetic about it at all. Maybe I would be if it was my team, but just so tired of it, man. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's frustrating, but hey, that's unfortunately
They tried to like sue the NFL or something, I thought, or like a lawsuit or something.
they have a whole thing you can sign, whatever that's called. The thing, that
Petition!
you sign. There it is, petition. All right, the one thing I didn't add in before, but I'm going to add in now. Who's your wild card picks for each division?
Oh, cripes almighty.
I'm going to do I'll do mine real quick. In the AFC, okay? This is very difficult because there's a lot of stinking good teams in here, right? But in the AFC, I am going to take the Chargers as 1, and I'll take the Texans as 2 in the AFC.
I will take the Chiefs since I have the Chargers winning division. That's an easy one. And I think the Jets are going to make a hard push for a wild card, but I think the Steelers get it.
All right. So in the end, we think all the same teams pretty much get in, just about. So you picked the Steelers and the Chiefs. All right. In the NFC, who do you got in wild cards?
Ooh, I feel like I think the Bears defense is going to be good enough to get them in.
Okay.
And the Saints and Drew Brees, all they do is win. Not enough for the division, but enough to get into a wild card.
All right. And for me, your winner of the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, I definitely think that they're going to do enough to lock in that, that ticket to the offseason, or the offseason.
Lock a ticket in.
The postseason. And secondarily, oh man, it's pretty tough. I'm going to take a sneaky pick here. I'm going to say the Seahawks are going to come in and and do their business.
No, that's a good pick. I almost picked them too, but there's just so many good teams.
There is. When you look at it on paper, you're like, I think they all can get in, right? Well, most of them anyway. Ooh.
Well, they're talking about expanding the playoffs, so that would get us all medium aroused.
I think there's too many teams already. No. Okay, let's go to AFC, the championship weekend. Championship weekend, AFC, NFC. Who's your pick going in?
Who's your pick going in?
I'll let you do this one, and then I'll pick Super Bowl first. How about that?
Do I got to say who's playing for the AFC championship game?
Mm-hmm.
Cripes, I only picked the winner. Well, I have the Chiefs winning. But against who, Caleb? Probably the freaking Patriots.
All right, Chiefs.
Because they can't leave us alone.
All right, that's okay. I'm locking it in. Okay. I'm writing this all down. It would be nice to see a team like the Chiefs. I want Andy Reid to win, right?
Yeah, I think
that
we
would
all
be
like
nice.
Andy Reid. Mm-hmm.
You got Chiefs over Pats. And no, I was just gonna make a stupid pick right there, but I don't.
Yes, do so.
No, I don't think that'll actually happen. I think
Redskins.
Wild card weekend winner. I'm actually gonna take the Texans to the championship game. And I'm gonna take them with the Patriots, but I gotta pick the Patriots to beat them.
Oh, for God's sake!
I'm sorry. I don't want it to happen as much as anybody else, if not more. Well, I don't think anybody wants it to happen, but I got to take it. All right.
Just those cocky jerks up in the Northeast.
Yeah. Pats over Texans. But again, I do want to see some fresh blood in there. NFC. What do you got in NFC?
I got it coming down to the Falcons and Rams, man. One epic NFC championship game.
Okay. Who wins it?
I guess you want to know who wins.
I do.
Well, the Rams will lose without any arguments from the fans or the refs. They will just straight up lose to the Falcons. Falcons and Chiefs, what a Super Bowl that would be.
Falcons and Chiefs. So that's already who you got. Man, it's so tough looking at this stuff and trying to guess this. Man, no, I'm not gonna do that. But you know what? I'm gonna make some friends here, and I'm gonna say the Cowboys get to the championship game. against the Eagles. No. The Cowboys are going to get there, and they're going to get there against, oh, man. I can't even I'm pivoting already. I can't do this properly. I'm starting to freak out. What do I do?
Sounds like your honeymoon night. I know, because I was there.
Bunch of things just happened there. I'm going to take the Cowboys and Saints, and I'm going to let the Saints win it. I'm sorry. It's going to happen.
Like you're God. And I'll allow the Saints to win this.
Not even happy about it. So that brings my Super Bowl to a very unexciting Saints and Pats. And I'm going to take the Saints to win it. I think the Saints have a better all-around team. Even looking at last year, who knows how this year is going to play out. But I'm picking the Saints to be the Super Bowl champions.
Be the Super Bowl championships? Is that what you said?
Emphasis on chips and salsa. I'm just hungry.
My winner will be from the Falcons and the Chiefs. Probably the Patriots.
Somehow they'll find a way, some sneaky way to get in there.
Some rule they'll break wherever they tie. Like, what goes to the AFC loser? No, Chiefs are going to beat them, and it's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Hey, nobody picked the Pats to win, but they got close. I got the Saints. You got the Chiefs. Either way, we won't be happy because neither of them will be our team. Great. But it's locked in now. It's locked in here.
But you could make a heck of a payday, Caleb, if it was your team.
Probably win $1 million on like $1, I think.
It just says you get to own them if you put it back.
Congratulations, you're the winner of the Dolphins. What do we do?
You win the Dolphins.
All right.
You win an actual dolphin.
Cool cats. We got a new edition of The Advocates. Let's hear that intro.
No, don't let him in.
Welcome to Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, it's The Advocates. Earlier this evening, I threw a wrench into the mix, and I put a second player in there, but I had a reason for it, if you didn't know.
Do we have time to do two? Do you want to do two?
We're going to kind of do them together, so...
what the hell's going on?
So, Tevin Coleman, currently RB27. His ADP is, well, I'll tell you it in a minute. Then Tarik Cohen. Tevin Coleman, which seems to be the lead back in San Francisco. Tarik Cohen seems to be an ancillary piece. Thank you.
Ooh.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate everything that you've done. On the Bears offense. So why don't you start with the positive of Tevin Coleman?
Let me turn my page to Tevin. Where you at? Okay, little story about Tevin Coleman. Signed a 2-year deal to come over to San Francisco. At first, the mess scared me. Matt Breida. You got McKinnon. You got Mostert. But let me add a little clarity to everything for you. McKinnon cannot get off the IR. He's probably going to start the year on it. He's having knee issues now. He tore his ACL, I believe, last year. It's just a mess for this poor guy. Mostert, I haven't heard a thing about. I don't even know where he's been. I don't know if he knows it's time to start playing football.
I think his arm is healed.
Maybe. I'll tell you this, Caleb. If you want to duel me in knowledge, he's playing tonight. He has 3 carries for 13 yards. Okay, I take it back. Matt Breida, injury prone. He's not a lead back, but he's a good change of pace back. But I mean, 7-30 split, 60-40, I can still live with that. Tevin Coleman's got a little special relationship with Kyle Shanahan, okay? Shanahan was with him in Atlanta. Last time they were together, Coleman had 941 total yards and 11 touchdowns, okay? He caught 31 balls, Caleb, last year with Shanahan. And this was playing second fiddle to Freeman. He's looking more and more like the guy in San Francisco's backfield. And even when he was playing second fiddle to Devontae Freeman, he still finished as a top 24 back 3 straight years. His last 3 years, he's averaged at least 2 catches a game for those PPR dudes out there. And here's a little cherry on top. I made your Sunday, Caleb, and I'm putting your little cherry right on top here. He has a top 3 run schedule when it comes to fantasy this year. So when people around him being drafted, like Phillip Lindsay, James White, when all that stuff's going in New England, Drake, who's hurt, I feel like Tevin Coleman's quite a steal.
All right. So let me tell you why Tevin Coleman is not the steal. And then we can get into Tarik Cohen, Tevin Coleman and Tarik. And we can get into Tarik Cohen. I forgot what they were named at first. Why he would be the steal of the draft going only 2 picks later. Okay. Tevin Coleman, I get it. He's just waiting for his opportunity. He finally has it. Everything's clearing up. The whole muddled field is getting unmuddled. But let's look at his history, okay? Nice. His first 2 seasons, he was doing pretty good. 4.5 yards a carry, then 4.4. All of a sudden, started going down. Dropped to 4 yards a carry, okay? Now, let me give you a little stat that really isn't good. Tevin Coleman is 48th in the league in yards after contact at 1.01 yards per carry after contact. So that means the moment he hits somebody, it's done. It's donezo. And when you're the lead back, if you're trying to be a first and second down back, what are you doing? You're running right into a pile of guys who rarely are you going to get away from. Unfortunately, he's not that big, hulking, every down kind of back. So guess what? They are going to use Breida. They are going to use Jerick McKinnon once he gets healthy. And Jerick McKinnon is the guy. Whenever it comes time, not only can he catch balls, but Breida can catch balls. I see Tevin Coleman's time whittling away ever so slowly on an offense where they only need him so much. They have so many offensive pieces, young offensive studs in that team. But you know what? Tarik Cohen, and I'm just going to move right into him, 2 picks later, and again, why I want to talk about these guys, by the way. Tevin Coleman, yeah, you got to get him around James White, Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, Lamar Miller. You wait 2 other running backs later. You can get him a whole round later in the draft, by the way. Tarik Cohen, you're getting him in the 6th, late back of the 6th. And Tarik Cohen, you can get him back in the 7th. Let me tell you why I like Tarik Cohen. Let's talk about player profiles, okay? Tevin Coleman, in his efficiency production premium. That means with every touch, how efficient he is with his touches. He ranks number 22 in the league for running backs. All right? I'm going to start right there. Tarik Cohen, on the other hand, production premium, number 1 in the league at his position and what he does with the ball when he touches it. Okay? Start with that stat. Next one, yards per touch. Tevin Coleman, 5.4 yards per touch, which is number 18 in the league. Not bad for where he's being drafted. Tarik Cohen, again, number 3 in yards per touch at his position. Tevin Coleman, breakaway run rate. That's hard to say 3 times. Run rate. Tevin Coleman, breakaway run rate. That is the percentage of rushes that are 15 yards or more. Number 7 in the league. Again, good, not great, because you know who is great? Tarik Cohen, number 2 in the league. Every 9.1%. No, that didn't make sense. 9.1%. 1 out of every 10 rushes goes for 15 yards or more. He has that big breakaway capability. And I get it. Tarik Cohen is back there with Mike Davis, this suddenly fresh David Montgomery rookie. But Tarik Cohen also has number 6 in targets in the league in 2018. He had 89 targets to go along with his 100 carries. 89 targets is a lot. Excuse me, I burped into the microphone. In 2017, he had 71 targets, went up from there. Let's say it goes back to his 2017 numbers. He was still number 10 in targets in the league with the same kind of productivity and efficiency to be a stud ancillary piece in an offense. He's the kind of player that you can have him as your RB2, even if he's not the number one RB on his team, and get super great production in your flex. Go with Tarik.
Are you done?
Oh, I'm done. Sorry, that was long-winded.
Little tricky because I didn't know we were comparing these guys.
Yeah.
But I think you hit the nail on the head, Caleb. He is an ancillary piece, as ancillary as they come. End of argument. So let's go. Last year, he was impressive. I will give him that. Jordan Howard had the least amount of carries and receptions he had last year, or his whole career, because Cohen was digging in a little into that. But this guy is so dependent on the passing game. It's not even funny, Caleb. So if you're about to laugh, don't. 8 games last year, okay? He had 5 or fewer targets. In those games, he only had 12 fantasy points or more once. In those 8 games where he had 5 or fewer targets, he had less than 10 points, fantasy-wise, 6 times. 6 freaking times. That's someone you have in your starting lineup that can't even give you double digits for a freaking less than a third of the season. Oh, and let's include in that little statistical of yours, 2.5 points he scored for you in your Super Bowl week, week 16.
It's not great. I'll give you that.
It's not great. So let's just listen to this. 30% of his targets came in 2 games, okay? He had 2 great games last year. He had 18 and 28 points, okay? A quarter of his fantasy production came in 2 games. If you would take those 2 games out, he would have had a pedestrian 44 catches for 500 yards. I'm not saying that's fair to do that, but it helps my argument. Excuse me. You had injuries to Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller last year. Trubisky didn't even know who to throw to. It helped Cohen's targets, obviously, because of that. Now you've added Mike Davis, David Montgomery, 2 solid runners and very capable pass catchers. You have a fully healthy offense, receivers. You have Trubisky, who's more comfortable in that system, throwing down the field more possibly, rather than just checking it down. You have 2 running backs ahead of him on the depth chart. Now listen, I am not downing Tarik Cohen. In best ball, man, he can just explode for you some weeks. But then you have weeks like this, and I'm not even making this up, Caleb. 6 carries, 5 yards, 1 catch, 8 yards. 3 carries, 14 yards, and 45 receptions. Or, that would be good. 45 receiving yards. He started the year out with 5 carries, 25 yards, and 3 catches and 16 yards. 4 carries, 8 yards, 1 catch, 17 yards. I mean, you have those explosive games, but they're like 4 games out of the whole year. If you're spending this kind of pick on him, you got to be someone that you can plug into your lineup, and he will pay off for you about 1/4 of the time. The other times, he's going to give you single-digit duds. Now, if I'll bring it back to Tevin Coleman, as your head back, he is at least going to give you a steady double-digit 10. Tarik Cohen will get you 30 points, maybe 20 points twice a year. Those other times, he's going to get you about 4 or 5 points. So it's better's choice. I don't know. There's a phrase for it. I don't know.
Dealer's choice? That's the phrase.
Dealer's choice?
I don't know
Does
if that
fit?
works, but it's there. No, that's
it's
good argument, man, because they are so close together. And
I don't think I want to draft either of them.
I was going to, before we had this conversation, I was pissed that I didn't have more shares of them because of who's going around them. I mean, who's going around Tarik Cohen? Corey Davis, Sammy Watkins, Christian Kirk, I like, but I think Tarik Cohen has pretty good upside there. Kenyon Drake, he's fallen way down. Drake. So, yeah. Awesome. Let us know who you pick, who you like better. Do you like Tevin Coleman? The general public, thank you. Tevin Coleman or Tarik Cohen. And that's the end of our show.